Good morning. Now, this is a video I wasn't planning to make this soon. I was planning to make it, but I received a comment on one of my other videos, and it's just sort of bored in deep into my head, because this is a question that I keep asking myself. The comment was by a chap called Eli. Which one produces better 4K quality, GH5 versus AX700? I want to get one for travel purposes. It would be awesome if you could do a quality comparison. Now, I'm not going to do a quality comparison yet, but I will do that later. That's something I've done myself a number of times. And it's a question that I struggle with myself quite a lot, because they're both brilliant cameras. Which one is better? Is it possible to say one is better than the other? So what I thought, as I say, I didn't mean to make this video. This is pretty impromptu. So I haven't got batteries charged for the lights. I've got the light from the window here, and I'm just going to sit in front of the AX700, which I'm shooting this on. And so I'm not going to be holding it up, but I'm going to be talking about the two, the GH5 and the AX700. Which one should you buy? Which one is better? So I thought the fairest way to do this would be like a little fight. You know, think Karate Kid. We're going to pit these two cameras against each other on 15 points. And I've got a list here, I've got a computer, you can't see it, but there's a computer here. And I'm just going to go down them and say which one, and I'm just going to tally this up while we're going along. So this is completely unplanned. So, focus, which is better for focus? Now, the AX700, we know, is a brilliant camera for focus. It's very fast. The phase detection focus is brilliant. It has face tracking, which we're using at the moment, which is perfect for a YouTube, for a vlogging camera. But also the GH5 has been used a lot. John Olsen, Casey Neistat have used this camera as a vlogging camera, but it does have a weakness, and that is the focus. The autofocus isn't very fast. Now, there are some hacks or fixes by changing shutter speed and some other bits online, which makes it faster. But for me, that really is the weak point for the GH5. It is the focus. So, you know, without going into too much more detail, AX700, as someone who owns both cameras, AX700 for focus is the winner. I'm going to tally this up now. So that's 1 point to the Sony. Quality, I've got to get straight to quality, because this is really the crux of it. Which one is better, produces better pictures than the other? Now, both very different cameras. The AX700 is a typical camcorder design, whereas the GH5 looks like a DSLR. Do not let that fool you, because this is a video camera. It takes stills photos as well, but I would say this is a video camera more than a stills camera. Quality between the two, well, let's look techie for a very, very quick moment here. And that is the AX700 in HD is 4208 bits, in 4K is 4208 bits. In HD and 4K, this is 422 10 bits. Technically, this is a better camera. We've got a micro four thirds versus a 1-inch sensor. This has a slightly larger sensor. This has Vlog, that will do S-Log. Vlog is a paid upgrade to the GH5. The GH5S, I'm not going to mention that, but that's the newer version of this. Or the big brother, depends how you want to look at it, but that has the log included. For me, looking at the quality of the both of them, the Panasonic is better, slightly better. I wouldn't say it's miles ahead, but it's slightly better. This is a close thing, it really, really is. So, Panasonic, 1 point. Now, slow motion. Both of these cameras shoot slow motion. The AX700, I think, has the upper hand, because you can go up to 1,000 frames per second in PAL. And I know that degrades the image quite a lot, but for what it is, it's very good. If you have a look 3, 4, 5 years ago at, you know, Photron type cameras, high-speed cameras, industrial high-speed cameras, they were doing the same sort of quality that a AX700 does now. And the AX700 is cheap. It's not expensive. You don't need a computer to process and to look at the quality. The GH5 is good at slow motion without a shadow of a doubt, but it doesn't do the same sort of speeds. So I would say for slow motion, the AX700 has better slow motion, faster, or slower slow motion as you would. And for that, I'm going to give the AX700 1 point. Next on my list is time-lapse. Time-lapse is something that I like to do. Now, I've used both cameras for time-lapse, whereas the AX700 doesn't really do it. The GH5 does, because it's I know I just said it's a video camera, but it is a stills camera, and it has a built-in time-lapse function. It's in the menu. You can set time-lapse. You can either set for how long it goes for, or just leave it running, set it to 9,999 pictures, and it will keep just rolling and taking time-lapse photos, stills photos, which you can then knit together. I use a really cool app on my iPhone which is called Timelapse, which allows you to calculate how long the time-lapse will be. But for me, I've got to say the GH5 is winner for time-lapse. So let's give that 1 point. Size is the next one on my list. Now this is something important, especially if you're traveling, is the size of the camera. But also, and this, I'm going to jump down my list in a minute, it leads me on to the other one, which is accessories. The size of the accessories as well. So they're both, I don't know if there's a clear winner here. They're both about the same size. If anything, I'd say the GH5 might be slightly, I don't know, it might be lighter. I've got it in an 8-sin cage here, so it's chunkier. But I always find this a light, small camera to use. The AX700's good, but it doesn't fit into the same sort of backpacks or bags that I will take with the GH5. So I don't think there's a clear winner here, because the AX700 I feel is slightly bigger, but it has ND filters built in. That's something else we'll talk about in a minute. Whereas the GH5 is smaller, but then you need to add ND filters and other accessories. We're going to go on to accessories, but for that I think size is going to be 0. There's no 1 point each then. There's no clear winner with the size there. It's pretty matched. Battery life, again, talking about sort of camera accessories, battery is very important. I would say the AX700 has the upper hand, that you can use the FV100 batteries, which will give you a longer runtime than the FV70 or the FV70A, which comes with it. Whereas the GH5 has got a slight issue, and that is the battery slot takes one size battery only. Now, there's a company in the UK called Hawkwood who do a battery adapter, which is a dummy battery box that goes in, which comes out to a D-tap, so you can run it off of V-lock batteries, which is it's a great solution, but it makes it bigger, bulkier. If you're doing time-lapse, or you want to leave it recording somewhere for a while, that is an advantage to this camera. But battery life between the GH5 and the AX700, again, I wouldn't say, for me, there's a great deal in it. It's too close to call, so I'm going to give both 1 point. Now, I'm going to go on to other accessories, which is further down my list. Sorry, bear with me here. Okay, so accessories. What else might you want to add? Well, the GH5 ND filters, neutral density filters, to be shooting outside. You can either fiddle with a shutter, which isn't ideal, so you can use neutral densities. The AX700 has neutral densities built in already. That's one less thing to worry about to carry around. The AX700 is clever that it will tell you when it needs its ND filter in. It's built in, as I say, so you don't need to mess around screwing it to the front of the lens. You don't need to take it off the front of the lens. You don't need to pick the right ND filter out of your bag to put on. It's just built in, so if you're going from internal to external, somewhere that's bright in the summer, then the AX700 is the clear winner. For the ND, certainly for ND filters. Other accessories, you've got XLR adapters for both, which you can put on. Again, both have got hot shoes so that you can use microphones. The AX700 is a consumer camera. The GH4, GH5, both have been used extensively for broadcast. Top Gear, Grand Tour, both use GH4 cameras. They're starting to use GH5S. I know the Grand Tour is starting to use the GH5S. They didn't use the GH5 because of the floating stabilizer in it. They wanted the chip still. So I'd say from that point of view, the GH5 is more geared up for professional accessories, cages and other bits. So accessories, I think the GH5 is, it just about does it. Another one on my list here was, sorry, I'm just adding these up as we go along, was ND filters, and that's built in. We've just covered that. So the clear winner for ND filters, which is something I think is quite important. It's something less to lose. It's something that you don't need to carry around, something else you don't need to worry about losing or forgetting. The clear winner on the ND filter front is the Sony. Panasonic, sorry, you don't win that one. Next on my list here, I've jumped forward, so I've got to go back. Form factor. Now, this is something that I really struggle with. If you've watched my previous videos, you'll know that I like camcorders. I like that shape, that style of equipment. I find it easier to use. I like the built-in lens. I find that built-in lens often offers you a better range. I know that the AX700 right at the telephoto end is equivalent to a 400mm shooting 5K HD on a red camera, and that's quite a range. So, you know, for me, the form factor of the AX700 is a winner. It definitely is a winner. Saying that, you know, the GH5 does have its positives as well, but for me, and this is just my personal view, other people are going to be saying, no, DSLR shape is much better, but no, this is my video, so I'm saying form factor, that is 1 point to the Sony and not the Panasonic. Now, camera look. Now, this is a weird one, but this is something I've had problems with before. So, depending where you're going, what you're filming, but the camera look, how does the camera look? Which, it could be form factor, you could say this is form factor as well. So let's have a look at a couple of different things. So one, does it look touristy or does it look professional? Why would that matter? If you're somewhere where you shouldn't be filming with a camera that looks too professional, you'll be told to put it away. So the AX700 doesn't look particularly professional. The GH5 doesn't look particularly professional. In that respect, I'm saying that the camera isn't big. It doesn't scream film production, video production. I had a colleague who took a Canon XM1. I don't know if you remember that white camera handle on the top. It looked like a professional camera. He took it to Egypt, was trying to film the pyramids and was told to put it straight away. So would you get away with that with the AX700? Borderline. GH5, well, it looks like a stills camera. And if it looks like a stills camera, people are going to assume it is a stills camera. So from form factor, or rather camera look, which we moved on to, how the camera looks, what you'll be able to get away with it, again, it's a difficult one. I'm struggling with this one. I would say you will be able to look more of a tourist with a GH5 than with an AX700. There are more restrictions on filming, I think, than there are on taking photos. So if you're going to be taking photos, with a stills camera, then, you know, I think, yeah. The other thing that I've struggled with in the past is I have a Canon C100 and it says Canon on it. It looks like, people see Canon, they assume it's a stills camera. So you point it at them as a video camera and they just freeze. I know it's silly. It really, really is silly. So does the GH5 being a stills camera, does that detract that if you start pointing cameras, people are going to stand still? This is one that you're going to have to work out for yourself, but these guys are equal with that, I think. You know, there isn't one that's got a clear winner on that or a loser. So I'm going to say that's just, yeah. Media, really big one this, because you're going to invest a load of money in a camera and then you need to buy media for it. Memory cards. Now, 64 gig memory cards, which is the size I generally use on both of these cameras, on the AX700 and the GH5. I use Transcend, the UHS3 cards. They cost now about £40 each. I bought them when they were about £25 and I've got loads of them. So memory cards I'm really cool on. Now the AX700, no problem with a memory card at all. The GH5, if I want to shoot all eye, then I need a V90 card. My UHS3 cards just won't cut it. They're not fast enough. And at the moment, V90 memory cards are expensive. Now, we're saying here, going back to quality, I suppose, which is better quality? The GH5 is the better quality of the camera. Technically, you've got more zeros. You know, it's more digits in there. You're getting more information. You're throwing less information away. So the pros and cons of this is that it's better quality on the GH5, but you need faster memory cards. You need more expensive memory cards. So media, if we're looking at cheapness here, I would say that the media, the winner here is going to be the AX700 because you can use cheaper memory cards on it. Sure, V90 cards are going to come down in price. I don't think they're ever going to be as cheap as the UHS-3 cards. If you're somewhere and you lose a card and you need another card, you know, you've got more chance of getting a UHS-3 card than a V90 card. If you're going to store your backups on cards as opposed to copy them to a laptop, again, UHS-3 cards are going to be cheaper than V90 cards. So, sorry, but Sony is going to win on the media point just because the cards are a lot cheaper than the Panasonic cards. And that leads on to field editing as well. And I'm filling this in because I know which one I'd prefer to edit. So I've got a MacBook Pro, I bought it about a year ago, got the 15-inch, I've also got a bigger 17-inch, which is a lot more powerful. Both of those struggle with the GH5, that's the non-all-I, the intra-frame codec, and the long-op codec, it's 150 megabits a second, the data rate, and both computers struggle with it. The field editing is going to be simpler on the AX700. Also bits of kit like this, and I did say I was going to do a video about this because this is really, really, really cool, and there's a new version 2 of this coming out. This is the, I don't know if you can see that, this is the NAR box, and this, if you're travelling, is an absolute godsend. What this bit of kit does is it takes, I was looking for you, I found another one of my cards. It takes SD cards here, and then it wirelessly connects to your iPad or iPhone, where you can edit, and then you can upload to YouTube. It's got an inbuilt drive. It's shockproof, dustproof, waterproof. I don't know. Waterproof's a dodgy term. It's probably rain or showerproof. It's something like that. But this is just a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant piece of kit. And this will take the footage off the AX700, but it won't do the GH5 footage. I'm very sure of that. But either way, I would say that for laptop, for field editing, the AX700 out of the two is going to be the easiest to handle. Less data, faster to edit, and less processor intensive. So I've given the Sony 1 point on that as well. Now, which is more professional? Now this is a tricky question, isn't it? Which of these will be more professional? Maybe you're not looking for professional, but it's good to have a tool that you'll be able to use and get the most quality out of. And I would say out of the two, which is more professional? Let's have a look at the AX700. Let's think about this because it's got a bigger brother, which is the Z90 and the NX80. The NX80 is too close to this camera to really worry about. So I'm going to talk about the Z90, which is a professional camera. It's handled by Sony Broadcast and Professional, 422 10-bit in HD, which the AX700, as we said earlier, isn't. But that just pretty much matches the GH5, which is also 422 10-bit in HD. But the GH5 is going to win that because it's 422 10-bit in 4K as well, which the Z90 isn't. There are more people, I'd say, using GH4, GH5 cameras professionally than this type of camera, the AX700. So it's, again, I think, which is more professional, I think the Panasonic's going to win on that. So, did I say 15? I don't think this is 15 questions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 questions. And I've got one more question which is a question which is probably the ultimate question. Which should I buy? Now, that is a very, very difficult one to answer. And it's so difficult that I've got both. I've got both cameras. I love both cameras. Do I use my GH5 for stills? Not really. I've always had 5Ds or 7Ds in the past, and I love the look of those. The GH5 is, I mean, it's a good stills camera, but it doesn't give you that shallow depth of field, and I do like that as well. I know it's not maybe everyone's cup of tea or bag, but for me, it's I like that shallow depth of field in photos. It looks pretty, and some people like that a lot for video as well. But which one of these cameras would I buy? As I say, I've bought both, and which one should you buy? Well, it very much depends on your on what you want to do with it. I like the GH5. I have it rigged in a cage. I have I'll put extra hot shoes on it so I can mount radio receivers. I've got the XLR adapter to go onto the top. I've got the 714, 12 to 35, 35 to 100, and 100 to 300 lenses, which does everything. The charger that comes with the GH5 is rubbish. It doesn't tell you what's happening at all. It's got flashing lights on it, or a static light. It's useless. I bought the Harnell ProCube charger, which charges two Panasonic batteries at the same time, and it will give you, it's got a little LCD display so you know how the battery is charging, which I think is really important. It also comes with a vehicle adapter, and I've used that so you can plug the same charger into your car. So if you're driving somewhere, you're charging the batteries in the car as well, and that for me is really, really, really useful. The AX700 comes with a Sony charger, which plugs in, charges it on camera, and not great. There is a dual charger which you can get for it as well, which I've got, which charges both the batteries one at a time. Is it? Yes, I'm pretty sure it's one at a time. But it's a bit confusing with the readout, time till charge, then time till fully charged. For charging and battery management, GH5, which should I buy? I can't tell you. You need to make your mind up on that. But what's interesting now, I'm not going to give that one a point. So I'm going to quickly add up where we are here, and we'll then see which one's the winner. Hang on a second. Right, the results are in, and it's quite strange because, yeah, Sony scored 10 points as a travel camera, and Panasonic only scored 6. So I'd say there that the Sony is the clear winner. Would I take it travelling? I'd take my Panasonic. I can't really leave you hanging like that, so I've watched the video back, and I think it's important that I come back and really quantify that last statement I made, that I would take the Panasonic over the AX700. For me, it's the picture. I love the picture off of the GH5, and I said earlier that it's not this big, but it's big enough. The GH5 is a camera that I love to hate. I love it when I'm using it, but the thought of using it, I suppose it's really the right tool for the right job. You see, the GH5 is a brilliant camera. The quality off of it is beautiful. Don't even think the quality is an issue here. It looks beautiful, but it's not as easy as the AX700. Now, what do I mean by not as easy? The AX700 is very much a run and gun camera. You've got very fast focus. You know, you've got the NDs that you can quickly throw in if you need to. It's very easy to use. The GH5 takes a little bit more thought, so you might need to set your shots up a bit. You know, they've both got a lot going for them, as I said, but ultimately the GH5, I think, would give better results. I am obsessed by quality. I love getting the very, very best quality that I can. You know, I love just to see all the colours, the sharpness as well. I know that sounds totally against what the general trend for shallow depth of field is, but I love just to see things. You know, the GH5 delivers that. It's not too shallow, it's not too deep, it's the right balance. If I want to get a shallow depth of field, I can put a Metabones adapter on it and throw something like a Sigma 18 to 35 f1.8. What a brilliant lens. That gives you that lovely, you know, with that combination gives you that lovely shallow depth of field like something like a 7D. The GH5 is just a tremendous camera. It's just not as integrated as something like an AX700 or a Z90 of that series. So as I say, you know, it's very much down to you what camera you will go for. But ultimately, and against my best judgment, comparing the two, the GH5 I think is possibly the better, tougher, more rugged camera that I would take travelling with me. I hope this video has helped in some little way and not actually thrown up more questions than answers. It was a very difficult question, and one that I'm still going to sort of flip between, I should imagine, quite a lot. If this has helped, if you have any further questions, let me hear your thoughts. Please leave them below in the comments. And very importantly, please click subscribe. If you subscribe, I know that you're watching, and I will continue to make these videos. Thank you very much for watching. Yeah, bye.